Check, check, testing the microphone. Check, check, testing the microphone. Alright, let's go. Hello, Akihiko-senpai. Thank you for coming. And thank you for coming to the lurkers as well. Before I re-moisten the wet palette and get some paint on it, here's a quick status update. The furthest along Spartan is Hacker Man. The green armor is finished on this one. The white underarmor is finished on everyone. And I think we're gonna work on the spiker. who has one leg, the green on one leg is completed. And so the wash darkened it down a bit. Darkened down the Gnarls green, that is. And so our two-step edge highlighting, just like with the pink ones, we just like do a kind of thick edge highlight with the base color again, which will be brighter because the first base coat was darkened down by the wash. And then we're gonna mix in some necrotite green, just a little bit, for one basic edge highlight after that. And that's basically it. Similar or basically the same process as the last squad of Spartans. After the turquoise and the green edge highlights are done, probably just a little bit of touch up on the weapons. Then like the hammer guy the hammer deserves a bit more brush work because it's cool. Gonna do some sort of glowing effect on that. I haven't decided on the color yet. Maybe I'll just do straight up necrotite green. I'll probably save that bit for last. Got a little droplet on here. Gonna try and suck it up. Sucking it up didn't quite work, but we can sponge it up. Sponge up all the excess water, that is. We have a little bit of awkward bleed into the palette here. Let's take our cloth and just sponge it up that way. Didn't get any over there, just a tiny bit. That'll be fine though. The fine art of re-moistening the wet palette without making it too moist, you know? You're welcome, Akihiko. Thanks for watching. Alright. I don't feel like doing green highlights this entire stream, so I'm only gonna put a bit of green on the palette. So it'd be nice if this stream was a bit of green and a bit of turquoise. Alright, time to lock in, as the kids say. Now I believe okay, I did all the base Gnarls green highlights, so I could mix in a bit of the necrotite green now, but I think just for the sake of showing the process, this one hasn't gotten the first highlight of Gnarls green, so I'll do this one. And this is just kind of like reapplying the base coat, but avoiding the recessed areas where I can. I think the camera can move just a little bit closer. I was originally gonna evening stream tonight, but then I remembered that I have a tattoo appointment this afternoon. And when I get back from that, I might not be feeling like streaming and or painting after being under the gun for a little bit. It's just finishing a tattoo that was already outlined, so it's only the shading today. But still, I was up early enough, I was like, let's just get our Monday stream done in the morning. And I'm gonna shoot for 90 minutes today. Hope everyone had a solid weekend. I managed to get my Crimbus shopping done. So that's a huge relief. Feeling like I might only do one more Halo Flashpoint stream after this, because I am feeling like I want to just roll right into the next, or the third final team of Spartans in my collection after I'm done this one, then have a nice top coating session. But you know, if I do one Flashpoint stream after this, that'll be 7 streams total. And it just feels like a little redundant to do more after that when the painting process for the third team of Spartans will essentially be the same. We'll see how I'm feeling after I'm done this Fire Team Cerberus though. I assume like a lot of you watching won't mind just like more Halo Flashpoint streams and you're just like happy to have a stream to watch in the first place, but I feel like some people will be like, you know, we'll see the notification if they got notifications turned on, or just check the channel to see what I'm up to and be like, oh, another Halo Flashpoint stream? I'll check back later. Good morning, Country Fried Minis. Welcome and thanks for coming. Oh, damn. Custom arm for a Battletech in Blender. Impressive. I hope at some point today you get an appropriate level of rest. Please don't feel pressured to watch my stream if you are very eepy. Or perhaps watching my stream is exactly what you need to relax after sculpting that arm. I hope the sculpting went well. I had a brief 3D modeling class in college and I was very bad at it. I'm not great at real life sculpting either. I mean, I'm sure I could get better at it if I practiced, but you know me, I just choose to practice more brushwork instead. I leave the sculpting to other people. Oh, that's cool, Akihiko. Has your brother given you some ink? Does the whole family unit have ink from your brother? That'd be a neat family bonding experience. I'm glad you appreciate the slow burn country fried minis. That's sweet, Akihiko-senpai. Yeah, the real-time painting process does have a slightly different appeal than the edited, refined painting process as seen in, I guess, what you'd call the standard YouTube content. And if you're looking at the facts, it's probably, if you're like looking to study the painting process, you probably can gain more knowledge from watching it real time in a stream, I suppose. It's just like more of a time commitment. But hey, I gotta paint these anyways. And I don't got time for any video editing, so happy to share the process via streams for you. Fly completed. You know what they say, edge highlighted thighs save lives. Yeah, you're welcome, Akihiko-senpai. A little contextual, but I'm sure it could be useful at some point. You know, thighs in general just save lives, you know, regardless of what you're doing on them. Saw a sticker once at a art market of some like thighs and fishnets, some disembodied thighs, and it said, "Thick thighs, thin patience." Alright, second leg is done. Let's paint the Dangus plate now. The Mark 6 Dingus protector. I don't think I need to highlight the parts that are like basically covered up by his arm. I said Mark 6, but I have no idea what the actual name of this Spartan armor is, because I'm sure it has a specific name. I believe all the Spartans I have are from Halo 5 Guardians? Don't quote me on that. Like I said before, my Halo knowledge kind of stops after Halo Reach. And even then, I don't remember much of the terminology from Halo Reach. Call me a casual gamer, casual Halo fan if you like. I don't know if I can deny it. What's not casual is my paint job here, because I tried to speed paint them and failed. I just wanted to be too edgy with it. Yeah, that's why some Gundam frames are fun. They just have very prominent cod pieces. Also, the Empire State Troops, like Warhammer Fantasy kit from 2007? They have some prominent bulges, we'll say. You have some good memories playing through the Reach campaign and co-op all in one session. Yeah, Halo Combat Evolved's the one I played the most. My favorite part is when Master Chief is like... Oh, sorry, not Master Chief. John Halo is like, it's Halo in time, and then he halos all over the place. Just like how my favorite part of Predator Badlands was when the Predator was like, it's Pred in time, and then Predators all over the place. Hello, another Nate. Yeah, that's what communities are good for, to call upon when you need help figuring shit out that you don't know how to do. Alright, just got to do the arms now. There's enough green left on the palette, I feel like I should probably just do the first, or do the Gnarls green highlight on the hammer guy. Also, the mold line on this guy's arm is rough. I suppose I could have scraped it off, but I just didn't want to. Perhaps for a nicer quality mini I would, but these are kind of like, I mean, I'd say they're like a bit better quality than the average board game mini, but I'd kind of put them in the board game mini category still. You know, to set expectations accordingly. Or they're pretty, very similar quality to the Catalyst Game Labs Battletech minis. I'm okay with some mold lines for pre-assembled miniatures. They're gaming pieces, so some minor imperfections like that are no biggie for me. This ain't no centerpiece model. Yeah, with the box art minis for this, I wonder if the minis painted for the box art were like nicer, higher quality miniatures produced. Or whether the cleanup job on them was just immaculate. Oh yeah, and if anyone was wondering, after the wash, I went and just tidied up with some very light gray on the Under Armour, some spots that spilled over. And then I applied 2 more coats of Apothecary White. Alright, the first green highlight on that one's done. Let's do the hammer guy, because we got enough gnarls. We need some gnarls green on the palette to mix with the necrotite green for the palette, but still a pretty solid dollop here that we're going to use up a bit of. Yes, Google Foo is definitely a thing. And now it's extra difficult because you gotta wade through the, like, dumbass AI summary that shows up before the search results. And then you also gotta filter through the search results that are, like, sponsored. You think technology like Google search would get better over the years, but instead it's just gotten worse. Gotta love that. Necrotite. I'm not sure if that was in response to something I said. On this one, we're starting with the booties. Meow. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Country Fried Minis. It's probably like a 3D printed master that gets painted, because I know that's happened with other box arts. Which, you know, makes sense. I'm not upset by it or anything. It's not like I expected my paint jobs to match the same quality as the box art. I never do. Doesn't mean the mold lines ain't annoying. But having the board game-esque quality miniatures, I'm sure, keeps the cost reasonable. Halo Flashpoint, in the context of miniature wargaming, Halo Flashpoint's pretty affordable. Okay, that leg is done. Next leg, starting at the booty, as in the foot with a boot. Well, I don't know if this counts as a boot, it's just all kind of like part of the armor. Saying booty is just fun. Really looking forward to when I get to the turquoise part of the highlighting, because I think that's when I'm really gonna start to see the color scheme come together. Shin and foot done, it's thigh time. When did I first pick up the hobby? When I was like 11, I'd say. Ish. I think it technically first began with scale modeling. My grandpa, my uncle, and well, I guess my grandpa wasn't a boomer, but my uncle was. They both did the classic boomer hobby of World War II planes. So at some point, probably when I was 9 or 10, I got a plane model kit. Built it up with their help. I think the first plane model kit I got, probably didn't paint it and just applied some decals. But then I do remember with like a second plane model kit, I like built it with my uncle, and then like I watched him airbrush it, which was pretty neat. But definitely like for the wargaming miniature side of things, it definitely started with one of my friends. Although kind of like the false start to it, probably before I was 11. I like was made aware of Games Workshop by one of my friends. Like we were at their cousin's house and their cousin was like pretty well off. So I had like a basement with a bunch of Warhammer in it. My friend had like I think a single box of skinks perhaps. And then I think I asked my parents for some Warhammer and they're like, no, that's too expensive. And then possibly a year or so later, a different friend had one of the starter sets for the Lord of the Rings miniatures game, the Return of the King one, where it was like Mordor orcs versus Minas Tirith. Then I believe shortly after, I had saved up some snow shoveling money or allowance, and I bought the Two Towers starter set because I liked Rohan. So the Two Towers starter set came with like 3 pieces of ruins, some riders of Rohan, and some Uruk-hai. So that's like the most clear, firm date starting point. And eventually, after playing a bit of Lord of the Rings miniatures game with my friend, I was much more drawn to Warhammer Fantasy. I started collecting lizards. Eventually Empire. I had a different friend that was into the 40k side of things, and I like casually collected some Tau to play with him. And he eventually got like a Chaos Fantasy army. Through a lot of high school, the hobby was kind of neglected though. I was too much of a band nerd. And then I got back into it and started taking things more seriously in my early 20s with War Machine and Hordes. And the tabletop gaming and painting has been pretty consistent since then. I didn't really... the first Gunpla I bought and just built casually as like a palette cleanser project that I didn't have to paint was like around 2017. So I built a couple of Gunplas casually. And I didn't start painting Gunpla till 2020. Started trying to do it like the traditional airbrushed way at first. for a bit, which wasn't bad, but then eventually I was like, what if I just hand paint the gunpla like I paint miniatures? Thus, Model Mayhem style was born. Traffic light man, yep. Everything is a hammer if you want it to be. Ain't that the truth? Just flip a sword around, grab it by the blade, and turn that pommel into a hammer. Also, hello, AD. Yeah, I'm gonna do a glow effect on the hammer. I just haven't decided on what color. I don't think I want to do, like, I thought about a red, possibly, or an orange, but I don't know if I want to introduce any tones that warm into the palette of the squad of Spartans. So we might go for a bit of an energy sword blue, ironically. And then I'm definitely gonna be like a peacocking contrarian, or maybe peacocking isn't the right term, maybe just contrarian when it comes to, in the last squad of Spartans we got the one that actually has the energy sword, and I don't think I'm gonna paint it the classic energy sword blue. We're gonna do something else just to be different. Feeling like I might need to take a bathroom break after I'm done this layer of green. We got the back to do after the chest, then the head and both arms. Then when I get back from that short bathroom break, we'll be mixing in that exciting necrotite green. And this guy's got a lot of those nice chest ridges showing. A lot of the other ones, their gun is covering up a lot of the chest details. Hackerman's chest is fully exposed, but Hackerman has some like a tactical radio and pouch on the chest that I painted a different color. Which I think was the right call. Otherwise it would just kind of be like a mass of edgy green. Also, I believe I fixed my super chat notification. Let me just resend the most recent one. Yeah, there we go. Hello, Johnny X87X. Oh, Necotite Green. I see what you're saying now, Country Fried Minis. Paint the Zabunle in fancy colors. Also, I'm not a mister. I'm not sure what you're, if you're, I mean, you might be making a joke, but I'm not sure what the Zabunle is, Iron Elemental. I'd be honored if you did your own hand-painted gunpla video, Country Fried Minis, and I'd be even more honored if you burped in it. I've been doing all these morning streams where I'm not drinking my Coke Zero, so the streams, the burp levels of the streams have been pretty pathetic, which, you know, I'm very ashamed about. Perhaps tomorrow I can manage an evening stream and I'll crack a nice crispy can of Conk Zero. Oh, okay, yeah. Fair enough. Iron Elemental. My bad. Ah, thank you for another super chat, Country Fried Minis. Now you're committed to those burps. It's all good, Iron Elemental. I appreciate your understanding. I mean, I'm okay if someone beats me in terms of burps. For now, I will enjoy my position as the Gunpla content creator with the most burps per video. Or just model painting YouTuber, I should say. I remember what the video I did a long time ago for like my 1 year channel anniversary, where I painted the Zero Ultra Monster Space Marine, the white one. I did like a little burp compilation in that one, and I remember like laughing pretty hard at it when I like finished putting the edit together, just like watching it in Premiere Pro by myself, losing my shit at my own burps. I don't think I'll go back and do another burp compilation because I don't want to go back and watch a bunch of old videos of myself for obvious reasons now. If someone else makes a burp compilation, I'll allow it. No pressure though, I'm not trying to steadily ask someone to do that free labor. Yeah, it was a bit of a moment where I was like, am I full of myself? Nah, a compilation of loud bass boosted burps is just funny. But I mean, maybe I am a bit full of myself. Always gotta try and keep that ego in check. Man, the helmets on all these Spartans are always the edgiest bits. Okay, I think we got the green highlight, or the first round of green highlights on that one done. Yes, the Red Bull Gundam. That was I'm really I mean, the paint job on the Red Bull Gundam I'm still like satisfied with, but what I'm really proud of is all the dumb berserk jokes I made in that one. That was the birth of the GOG hand. Alright, I must take a quick bathroom break. Hang tight, I will be back shortly. Alright, I'm back. Put on a cardigan. Fun fact, winter's been, it's been winter where I am for a little bit now, but it feels like it's really winter now, because it started snowing last night. It wasn't the first snowfall of the season last night, but last night was like the first solid snowfall where it went all night, so today everything's covered in just powder and it looks like a winter wonderland. So I'm gonna have to bundle up for my trek to see my tattoo artist. Everything looks very aesthetic, but I'm gonna be trudging through that snow. The gray purple flag Gundam, the non-binary Iron-Blooded Leftovers, I'm really satisfied with that one still. Partially because that one's just a lot different from my other hand-painted ones, with the weathering and the decals. Also, originally wasn't gonna be a weathered build, I just like, my decal application was like not great and I ended up rubbing off some of the paintwork, so I was like, alright, this is a weathered build now, but it worked out. Yeah, I figured you haven't seen snow in ages, living in the old San Fran. Alright, time from that Nicotite green, yeah. Trying to remember how much I added, I think. Let's see how it looks with that. Mixed in with a good scoop of this. Alright, let's just mix in a little bit more gnarl green. Yes, Country Fried Minis. Today's tattoo appointment is gonna be nice and short because I'm just getting the shading done on this kind of smallish medium tattoo I got a few weeks ago. And just when I got it, something came up and we had to cut it short, so just did the edges, or the outlining. So the silver lining there being, instead of having one longer painful session, it's two slightly less painful sessions. And yes, I do remember seeing you on stream practice on like some fake skin, some tattooing. Tattooing seems like a hard line of work, because you know it's like a freelance artistry essentially, so if the economy is in shit and people don't have a lot of extra spending money, work just dries up. Yes, that's right, Phaedroth. Unfortunately, I had my morning coffee and brushed my teeth already, so not too many burps at the moment, but you know, I can't not include the burp counter. Next evening stream, I hope to crack a nice crispy can of Conch Zero and deliver those burps. I think pre-hiatus, my burp record for on stream was 10. I suppose I could go back and check, but I don't want to go watch old streams of myself for obvious reasons. I mean, even if I hadn't have transed my gender, going back and watching old content of yourself isn't super fun in general. The content creator life presents lots of opportunities for psychic damage like that. Just having to like look at your own face and hear your own voice editing constantly. It messes with your head a bit. Now I'll finish this leg, then I'll compare it to the one I edge highlighted yesterday. See if the mix looks close enough. Oh wait, I already highlighted this leg, I believe. So I just I just highlighted it again. Silly me. Not a big deal. A close enough consistency, we'll call it, is what we're shooting for on the FLASHPOINT projects. in the box art for the Spartans on this Fireteam Cerberus expansion and the Wargames expansion that I'll be painting after. I mean, I think in the Wargames expansion, the Spartans, like the color variation is fairly different between the four of them, but they all have like a mix of orange and teal. And then Fireteam Cerberus is a bit more all over the place. And I still have some like fairly moist Gnarls green on the palette, so I can like bring down the edge highlights a bit if I need to. I guess this track is just way louder than the others. Yeah, I got my first 4 tattoos like about 10 years ago. And then for my 5th and 6th tattoos that I got this year, it was my first time getting the like Saniderm, like kind of saran wrap second skin I put on you after, which I find that makes the healing process way better. Although peeling off the saran wrap after the like 5 to 7 days is pretty rough. I'd still prefer that than the old method where you just have to like have it wrapped up for a little bit and then you just gotta try and keep the areas dry when showering, which is pretty tricky. And yeah, looking at your past self is always pretty cringe, that's the truth. Liquid barrier goo. My most painful tattoo, I have one on my left breast that had, it's like a mandala, so the outlining was fairly tedious, but then also there was a lot of shading on that tender breast. That's the one I remember being the most painful. I don't have any tattoos in the in what is considered the most painful areas, like, you know, rib cage and stuff. I don't know how I'd do with one of those. What was your most painful tattoos, chat? For those of you that have them. think I already edge highlighted this part of the thigh, but why not do a bit more? It's extra edgy after all. And you know what I said earlier, edge highlighted thighs save lives. And I think those two thighs look consistent enough. It looks a bit edgier than the one I did yesterday, but not so much different that I want to like go redo Hacker Man. Ooh, the wiping on that. I kind of like the wiping part at the at the end of a tattoo session. They do the rinse and wipe, and yeah, it's painful, but it's like, oh, it's finished. I guess there's wiping that happens before the end, but I think you know what I mean. Oh, a knee ditch and armpit. Yeah, I can imagine, like, keeping your leg still when you're getting that part of the knee tattooed. That sounds very difficult. One of my coworkers has like a almost blackout tattoo on the majority of her leg. When I saw the back of her knee and how much black ink was put on there, I'm like, how did you even get through that, dog? But yeah, I can imagine a neck tattoo would be pretty rough as well. I thought the clavicle part of the most recent tattoo I got would be the more painful bit, but it was like the closer it got to the sternum, the more painful it got. Where we're at on the stream now, I don't know if I'll be getting to the turquoise on this stream. Which, I was hoping to show you, but it might just not work out this time. The process is literally the same as working with the green, though. It's a bit too much of the highlight there. Let's bring it back a bit. Highlighting green is pretty fun to paint, not gonna lie. Green, blue, purple, red. Super fun colors to edge highlight. Not as bad as you think. Interesting. I imagine the healing process of an armpit tattoo would be not super fun either. Yeah, purple, purple, yeah, it depends. Because you can go for more of like an indigo blue purple route or a more violet red purple route. Okay, probably not gonna get an armpit tattoo ever. I mean, not that I had any ideas for one. But having it confirmed that the healing process is ass reinforces that desire. Yeah, now I kind of do want to like edge highlight Hackerman a bit more. That's something we can do later in the final stages of finishing up the squad. Now to do this edgy ass helmet. Whoops, gotta mop up some paint. Saved. Alright, just the arms now. Yeah, there's something to be said about the freedom of like having a ragtag band of miniatures that can all be slightly unique with their colors and don't have to be super consistent. Edging hacker, man. Clip that out of context, like confuse people. Yep, my gender may have changed, but the dumb jokes about edge highlighting haven't. Frostgrave. I picked up Frostgrave Soldiers 2 the other day. for a little agnostic project that'll probably just sit in the backlog for years. Frostgrave kits are pretty solid. And they keep getting better. The most recent one to come out was Cultists 3, and apparently it's got some real nice extra bits in it. I didn't think the green finished on this one. If you want a really quick to play skirmish game that you can use more minis in, you could go with the one-page rules. If you want to add like a more skirmishy feel where like your individual soldiers can like take a few hits before they go down potentially, you could play Age of Fantasy Skirmish. I believe it's called. Oh, we got a burp, people. Let's burp one of the stream. Some residual breakfast burp. I'm afraid to say that might be the only burp this stream, but we're updating the counter, as is tradition. Oh yeah, I don't know if there's any animals that came in the Frostgrave pack I got. The Wargames Atlantic City Guard, or it's like Classic Fantasy Guard perhaps is called. The sprue on that one has a goose mini. So, you know, that's the entire reason I bought it. Not that the guards would be useful to add to my, like, janky Warhammer Fantasy Empire army, just purely wanted the goose. Oh yeah, a historically accurate medieval cat mini, that sounds fun. Yeah, one-page rules is like a solid time if you're not looking for like a super crunchy wargame, if you want something quick and easy. I am on a bit of a time limit, so I think after I'm done this round of green edge highlights on Shotgun Man here, I'm gonna have to wrap up the stream, and we'll be at a solid 90 minutes, which was kind of the goal for this stream. And if my tattoo pain isn't too bad tomorrow, and if work doesn't drain me too much, I'll aim for an evening stream tomorrow. That might be the last Halo Flashpoint stream. I might just power through the last Spartan team off stream. So there might be like a week or two break with streams. We'll see though. I'm not making a final call on that yet. Which one is this? Is the 6th Flashpoint stream. Pretty solid streak. The important part with the streaming in general is just to like, or painting in general I should say, is just to like not like, I should take breaks, obviously, for the sake of my wrist, but if I take too much of a break, then it just takes too long to get back into it. I've heard some kind of concerning things about 1490 Doom, unfortunately. Just look up the minor controversy from there's this documentary with I think John Heder is the host, the guy who plays Napoleon Dynamite. There's this documentary called The Grim and the Dark or something, and it was kind of like, not so subtly, just an advertisement for 1490 Doom, and it turns out 1490 Doom was made by a bunch of Mormons. Not that there's anything wrong with being Mormon, but they kind of like rug pulled people and weren't totally honest about it, and they're just kind of trying to capitalize on the Trench Crusade hype, it seemed. And the documentary was just like, didn't really live up to the potential it had, because it was just kind of like a not so subtle 1490 Doom advertisement. So a lot of people who felt pretty rug pulled by that. If you're looking for a similar agnostic skirmish game, I've heard, well, I mean, obviously there's Trench Crusade. I've also heard Forbidden Psalm is a good one. Forbidden Psalm, I believe, is also, compatible or related to Morkborg in some way. Or the Morkborg system, which includes Cyborg and Pirate Borg, and I'm sure some other kinds of Borgs I don't know about. Yeah, Forbidden Psalm might be like a bit of a hybrid, as in like it's got some RPG mechanics, but it's also like an agnostic miniature skirmish game. My coworkers is a big fan of it, but I haven't played it myself. I've realized over the past few years I'm just not huge into skirmish games, because I usually would opt to I'd rather have more minis and less terrain. Even better when the minis are in big old rectangles in rank and flank games. Halo Flashpoint is technically skirmish, but it like plays on a grid, kind of exists in the purgatory soup between being a miniature skirmish game and a tactical board game with minis. Yeah, I mean, I did a really bad job of recapping the 1490 Doom drama, but with some internet sleuthing around, you should be able to get a better breakdown of the situation. Yeah, the idea of the concept of the game, or the gameplay of 1490 Doom is pretty interesting, from what I heard. And there was like a local group in my area playing it, and then they felt kind of rug pulled and lost a lot of interest in it, which is fair. Sorry, I just got distracted for a moment there. Thank you, Agihiko-senpai. On to the left leg. Nothing like painting to... Is this the 1812 overture? Yeah. I've recently gotten into a new show, The Expanse. A nice, solid, hard sci-fi. Been a while since I watched one of those. Been very sci-fi pilled lately, I guess, between painting these Spartans and watching The Expanse. Yeah, I think I'm enjoying the show enough when I reach the end of it, and it is inevitably not satisfying because it ended before they completed the story. I'll probably check out the books. Probably will take a while though, because my book backlog is horrendous. You know, I've finally gotten out of my painting funk in the last few weeks, but the reading funk, that's a different challenge. The last book I managed to finish was Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. Big recommend on that one. Big recommend for Ursula Le Guin in general. You know, Earthsea, another classic. Shin done, onto the thigh. Oh, I haven't done the thigh on the other side. Yes, and if you need a refresher on the greens, it's P3 Gnarls Green, highlighted by mixing in some P3 Necrotite Green. Passenger, I haven't seen that one. Is that the one with Crisp Rat? Alright, gotta do the back of the thigh. This thigh isn't as satisfying to highlight because we got the tactical pouch to go around, which I can only assume is filled with Mark 6 Spartan granola bars and juice boxes. Anytime a mini has like just a kind of nondescript pouch of some kind, I'm usually like, yep, that's definitely filled with snacks. Because you don't want to, you can't fight a multiplayer arena battle on an empty stomach. A hangry Spartan just doesn't fight as effectively. You misspelled the name there. It's Crisp Rat. Just so you know. Okay, looks like I did. Okay, I highlighted the back of his thigh, I just didn't do the front. Interesting. What an interesting technique there, Laina. The technique being I forgore. Alright, now for the most fun part, the cod piece. We got a bit of a fiber stuck on the brush there. Yes, that's the proper way to spell it, Iron Elemental. Don't quote me on that. And yeah, much less edge highlighting, excuse me, to do on the chest on this one, and parts of the waistband, because the gun is in front of it. Yeah, Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture is pretty fun music to paint to, not gonna lie. You're welcome, Iron Elemental. Also, we got some nice Shrek water going on. Okay, I think we got the chest done. So just the arms and helmet. Yeah, it's always tempting to drink the nice vibrant paint water. Is that a Fallout thing? Radiation points on the health bar? You can tell I haven't played any of the Fallout games. I enjoyed the Amazon Prime show. I mostly tuned into it because I'm a big Kyle MacLachlan enjoyer. But now I'd say I'm a certified enjoyer of the Fallout setting. Alright, that arm's done. And maybe a tiny bit more on this bicep, actually. Yes, I always hear Fallout New Vegas. It's the best one. I mean, Fallout, the first two Fallout games are like the top-down isometric ones. If I remember correctly, so it's like comparing those ones to the ones after doesn't seem fair. Alright, let's do the helmet last. Alright, helmet time. Also, the brush wiping towels develop some interesting colors. Thank you for the €5 super chat, Iron Elemental. Yeah, you're in the spot now. Country Fried Minis has been usurped. For now. Also, I'm glad the little animation worked this time. Alright, this last bit of the head's gonna be a little tricky. Gotta concentrate. Ooh, hand's getting a little shaky. Almost done. Yeah, that's good enough. Yep. Alright, green highlighting done on this lad. Mr. Shotgun. There's a bit of green left on the palette I kind of want to use up, and we're at an hour and 50. If I paint for 10 more minutes... Yeah, I'll still have time to make my appointment. Let's just break that 2-hour mark. We might as well. Let's provide the people with 10 more minutes of live painting. And then the only one that, I mean, I could, let's just compare the highlights here a bit. Yeah, still on the fence as to whether I want to brighten up the highlights on Hackerman. I think I gotta think about it a bit more. Sleep on it, perhaps. Yeah, I feel like to break the 2-hour mark, we'll I'll just focus on getting the legs done. I wonder if it's still snowing now. My blinds are closed. I'm just painting in the void. I don't know what's going on in the outside world yet. But I think I'm going to be walking to my tattoo appointment, so we got to break out the boots. Thankfully, I don't think it'll be too cold, you know, by my Canadian standards. I'm not going to have to wear, like, a ton of layers. Just like a couple. Oh, trust me, Canadians complain about the cold. Thing is, like, within Canada, there's varying, like, levels of cold. Like, I'm in the dry prairies. So, like, I think the cold we get here isn't as bad as, like, the Montreal cold, where you just get, like, a ton of wet snow and it's really cold, so you get, like, the humid cold that penetrates the jackets, and there's just a shit ton of snow. I'm pretty lucky where I'm at. We get these warm winter winds periodically that come over the mountains called Chinooks. The downside of those is that it'll like melt a bunch of snow, and then when the Chinook's over, it gets cold, and we just get like skating rink sidewalks everywhere. So it's a little treacherous. But then, you know, you could live in like one of the northern territories or provinces in Canada and where you have like the most hardcore winter. Because you're just like living in the Arctic. But then, you know, the West Coast, depending on where you're at, if you're living on the West Coast, you can kind of get green all year round and maybe only like 1 or 2 days of snow in a year. Yeah, I got like the prairie winters, but not even like the worst prairie winters. All things considered, I can only complain so much about the winter weather within the Canadian context. Year-round, it is often bone dry, though. We got some dry-ass air here in Alberta. Hail, yeah, hail is a bit of a wild card. Every once in a while there's like a pretty nasty hailstorm here with like big golf ball sized ice that just falls from the sky and shreds up people's siding on their homes and breaks their windshields. Thankfully, most of the time the hail is just like pebble-sized, and it's just like amusing. Although even pebble-sized hail can hurt if it hits you right on the noggin. Onto the right foot. Yeah. The occasional dragon. Yeah, you definitely gotta make sure you take your dragon repellent with you on walks. I mean, if you're going on hikes, Out in the wilderness where I am, you should... I mean, I guess it depends on how deep into the back country you go, but generally it's recommended you bring a bear spray, which is like mace that's more potent because it needs to like ward away a bear. Alright, I'm just gonna finish the thighs so we can say both legs are done on this guy, and then we'll be wrapping up the old stream at a nice solid 2 hours. Got a bit of paint in the ferrule there, better rinse that off. I think part of the problem with my highlight inconsistency between the Spartans is that my wet palette, I'm just like, I don't have the different mixes like cordoned off well enough. And they're just bleeding into each other. But for this project, it's fine. I ain't even mad. I've seen wild moose. Yeah, they're really big. Moose are underrated in terms of their power level. Glad you agree, Country Fried Minis. Yeah, moose are pretty majestic, but keep your distance. Probably a good idea to just keep your distance from wildlife in general and just let them do their thing, live in their best wilderness life. Just observe and appreciate from a distance. Better that way for everyone. Alright, let's call that thigh done. I did highlight a bit too much on the inner bit. I'm just gonna see if I can reactivate a little bit of this black gray at the top. Just mix it in the side here to get a bit of a dark green. And just get that edge between the panels here. The stray cats is a bit different. I'm talking about like going on a hike out in the provincial parks. Good enough is good enough. Some advice, I can't remember if it was Hank or John Green. It's like, any project you're doing, aim to get it to about 80% of where you want it and then call it done. Alright, that's it for this stream today. Thanks for coming, everyone. The YouTube analytics are saying my average view duration is much higher than usual, so that's nice. No, never doing this for the analytics though, of course. Doing it because I got a paint and I might as well share it. I will tentatively say there'll be an evening stream tomorrow. Raccoons, yeah, a raccoon ain't that much different from a stray cat. Sometimes it seems like, anyways. And yeah, I'll promise like one more Halo Flashpoint stream. Then I might have a bit of a streaming break for a week or so before I get move on to something else. Yeah, crows are cool. Alright, well thanks again for watching, everyone. I hope you have a good Monday, whether it's morning, midday, or evening. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye.